You know, the Trump trial verdict happened at a very convenient time for Joe Biden. Not only did he get to pound his chest about his chief rival being a convicted felon, got a lot of seals to clap over that, but it also distracted from a very, very significant development, which he greenlit that same day. So, Russell, you want to take this one away?
Biden gives Ukraine permission to carry out limited strikes within Russia using U.S. weapons. The president was quoted as saying, "What, me worry?"
Yeah. Yeah.
President Joe Biden has given permission to Ukraine to strike inside Russian territory with American munitions, though he has restricted their use. So Kiev can only hit targets over the border close to Kharkiv after Russia made significant advances around the city in the northeastern part of the country, close to the Russian border, two U.S. officials told CNN on Thursday.
Be careful with these, you crazy kids.
Yeah, don't let me hear you were launching these on Friday night drunk.
Yeah, right, exactly, yeah.
The president recently directed his team to ensure that Ukraine is able to use U.S.-supplied weapons for counterfire purposes in Kharkiv so Ukraine can hit back at Russian forces hitting them or preparing to hit them, one of the officials said. The loosening of the restrictions marks a break from long-standing policy and comes amid growing international pressure from close U.S. allies. But it is limited to the area around Kharkiv, and Ukraine has not requested permission beyond that, the official said. I think this is out of date because Zelensky's already bitching. Yes, but we need the 300-mile range weapons so we can hit Kremlin and start end of world. So Jesus, come back.
Yeah. This just broke on the same day that the Trump verdict came in.
No. So I'm gonna confidently say that part is no longer true. On Friday, Secretary of State Antony Blinken confirmed the decision had been made following a request from Ukraine. Over the past few weeks, Ukraine came to us and asked for the authorization to use weapons that were provided to defend against this aggression near Kharkiv, including against Russian forces that are massing on the Russian side of the border, Blinken said at a news conference in Prague. The top U.S. diplomat said the request went to Biden and he approved their use for that purpose. When asked if the door was open for the U.S. to allow Ukraine to strike further into Russia, Blinken said the U.S. would continue to, quote, adapt and adjust moving forward. Kiev made the request for Washington to change its policy in just the past few weeks as Russian forces have made their advance, the official said. Russian forces, ammunitions depots, and logistical hubs can now be targeted with U.S.-provided artillery and rockets across the border from Kharkiv in western Russia. A hallmark of U.S. support for Ukraine has, quote, has been to adopt as the conditions have changed. Battlefields change, as what Russia does has changed in terms of how it is pursuing its aggression escalation. We've adapted and adjusted too, Blinken said on Wednesday on a visit to Moldova. I am confident we will continue to do that. The previous day, key European leaders signaled they had shifted position. Speaking at a news conference alongside German Chancellor Olaf Scholz on Tuesday, French President Emmanuel Macron outlined that French weapons sent to Ukraine, including long-range missiles, were permitted to target bases inside Russia. Quote, Ukrainian soil is being attacked from bases in Russia. So how do we explain to the Ukrainians that we're going to have to protect these towns and basically everything we're seeing around Kharkiv at the moment if we tell them you are not allowed to hit the point from which the missiles are fired? We think that we should allow them to neutralize the military sites from which the missiles are fired and basically the military sites from which Ukraine is attacked, Macron continued. Germany's Scholz echoed Macron's comments and said that Ukraine was allowed to defend itself as long as it respected the conditions given by the countries that supplied the weapons, including the United States and international law. Yeah, these folks really care a lot about international law.
Yeah.
Just talk to the Palestinians. The initial limits preventing Ukraine from firing into Russian territory with U.S. weaponry were rooted in the Biden administration's concerns about the war escalating. While those concerns remain, the U.S. moved to change position after the Ukrainian government explicitly cited the need to defend Kharkiv. European allies began changing tack, and NATO leadership quietly urged the U.S. to allow such strikes.
I mean, the
All
big thing
right.
there is, I mean, for one thing, the idea that they were prohibited from doing this up until now because of Biden's fear of the war escalating. Once again, I'm a broken record at this point, but I don't know how someone such as myself, who had little to no knowledge of this conflict dating back to its Cold War roots. I mean, I knew the very, very basics, but not enough to speak on a microphone to 20 people, which is what we were speaking to at the time, never mind a few thousand right now. The idea that when you say you didn't want this war to escalate, what that means is that your plan was that after a couple years, Russia would just give up. They would just give up.
Right, sure.
And
Yep.
one look at a map says, well, that can't happen. That's not possible. Right. And then you look at Russia's history of
or a
not
history
giving up.
book. Yeah.
Right. But you don't even have to look there. You just look at the map. That's clearly not going to happen. Now, it's also not going to happen that they're going to win this war going on offense at this stage. But what happened to not wanting to provide any sort of escalation of the war? It just absolutely nonsensical.
Well, and this has been, I mean, we dismiss him as a comedian, but he has shown some aptitude for working the refs and trying to get the West to gradually inch up to World War III. Yeah, you had he probably overplayed his hand by falsely stating that Russia had attacked Poland. And this shows you what a dangerous person he actually is. There's no doubt in my mind he knew that wasn't true. He was prepared to incite World War III.
Right.
So anything he said after that, setting aside what he said before that, after that, you're dealing with a bad faith actor who thinks nothing of possibly starting a thermonuclear war to get what he wants. So, hey, he took the Kharkiv thing as an opportunity to inch the Western powers further up, which they have done. And yeah, as I said, that article's already out of date. I have another article that I was looking at for the slideshow on the B side of this, where he's already saying, yes, but that's not enough.
Right.
Yeah, you have to let us start using the long range weapons on Russia to really win the war. You do that. What do you think Russia's gonna? You can't win militarily. You don't have enough munitions. You don't have enough men. You just don't have enough manpower. You're not going to win. So what do you think Russia's response to those kinds of strikes are going to be?
Please clap.